Good morning and welcome to another weekly Q&A with Tustin Longevity Center. I almost forgot what my name was there for a second. My name is Tal and I'm the practice manager here at Tustin Longevity Center, and I am joined by Dr. Rita Ellithorpe, our founder and medical director. How are you doing today, Doctor?
I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. Thank you.
Me as well too. So we have a lot to cover today. And I want to set up the format first. If you're not aware or you haven't joined us before, this is a live Q&A, and what that means is we are looking at the comments, the chat area of the YouTube live stream. Go ahead and post any questions that you have for us there, and we'll be answering those as quickly and as we can. What we also do is we each week start off with a topic. Lately that's been current events, which is of course COVID-19, the novel coronavirus. So we're going to be talking about the headlines in the last week, and we're going to be focusing on the facts. We're also going to be talking about immune support, right? Strategies that you can and should be taking today to help strengthen your immune system and stay healthy, keep your family and friends healthy, avoid catching this disease, and if you do, you know what you can do to recover from that. We're also going to be talking about our medical practice here, steps that we're taking to keep our staff safe and our patients safe as well.
Well, I think also what we'd like to focus on today, and bring your questions because this is supposed to be interactive. This is so my patients can be able to reach out as well with questions. But I want to make this about our personal responsibilities in helping with this situation. And I'd like to open with an example. I have been giving you from late January, I think I did the first video, and I put you on to what everyone uses is the Johns Hopkins map, and we informed you of this in January. The other thing is that's an excellent video. Of course you know what it is now. But the other one is MedCram. MedCram does an update almost daily. And yesterday's number 43 video is about what you can do. And I would like to just point out if there is a volume of people who are, let's say, exposed or infected, and that is a certain volume of people. That volume, not all of them are going to become ill, and out of that group that becomes ill, not all of them will go to the hospital, right, or to even the doctor. And so what we're trying to do is to help reduce the amount of people that will need to present to a doctor and therefore need to present to a hospital and therefore need to present for critical care. And that's the focus of today, is what your personal responsibility should be in this to help. If you're exposed and you don't know whether you have it or not, you feel well, you may have a cold, we'll be able with telehealth, and we're remaining open to be able to see you to try and help you not to have to go to an urgent care or an emergency room and so forth. Diminish the stress on the hospital critical care capacity. And that's why we're doing these videos. Of course, without being said, the shelter at home, the healthy distancing, the hand washing, the not touching your face, the wiping off of your handles, coughing into a Kleenex or a handkerchief.
Social distancing.
Not going out to restaurants and movies and all these things are going to do their part. But we're going to kind of focus on how we can help build your immune system so that you may not even know if you've been exposed, you won't have any symptoms, or if you do, how you can stay without being a burden on the healthcare system.
Right, absolutely. And on that note, transitioning, I want to make sure that today we keep things in plain English as much as possible. Over the last couple of weeks, we have been all over and on top of the cutting edge, leading front research and what's happening. But your feedback has been great, and we want this to be a very practical Q&A session today, focusing mostly on COVID-19. I'm just going to speak very briefly, if I may, about our office, our clinic here in Southern California, and what we're doing to respond. First and foremost, as Dr. Elthorpe mentioned, what we're doing immediately is we're staying open. When lots of offices are closing around us, we're pretty much a primary care office working in family medicine, preventatively mostly, but we're trying to keep our patients out of the urgent cares, out of the emergency rooms, where there is a high risk of exposure. So we're asking our patients to call first if they feel any symptoms. We are continuing to see patients in the office that are feeling well. We do think it's important to help them maintain their immune system as well as their prescriptions and their medications. So if you're feeling well, yes, we do have doctors here. We are continuing to see patients, with the exception of Dr. Mitchell, who has a more specialty focused practice, and she's staying home right now with her family. The rest of us are here, and we're offering telehealth, which is new for us.
Yes.
There have been some sweeping changes with Congress and insurance companies that are now allowing us, are removing the barriers for telehealth. We've always offered telephone consults, and this is not that. A telephone consult we've done in the past, it's not covered by insurance. It's when a doctor calls the patient and we have a visit over the phone.
Right.
Telehealth visits require audio and video.
Yes.
So think like FaceTime if you have an iPhone. And what we're doing is thanks to the changes in the deregulation of this, these visits are now billable. Just like an office visit, there is no difference really when it comes to how we bill insurance for that. And that's commercial as well as Medicare. So if you're not feeling well, you're not feeling up to, or you just don't want to come into the office, we think it's important that you keep your appointments. We can transition, and we are transitioning those calls. We're setting up an iPad for the doctors so that they can see you either through your iPhone at home or your laptop with a camera on it. And the doctor can actually talk to you, see you, look at you, and continue that visit and bill that to insurance, which is wonderful.
I would say almost half my patients today are telehealth, and I just want to shout out to our leadership staff here. Blake is our IT director in development, and he has just been on it from the day it first was legal to do that. We had our first telehealth conference, and Blake was on it, so thank you, Blake.
Thanks, Blake. Okay. Also, of course, we're taking all of the preventive caution steps that we can here. We're trying to conserve supplies. So what that looks at our office is we've increased the amount of cleaning and disinfecting going on in the office. We've removed any high touch points. You won't find any magazines in our lobbies. We've removed the cups, the tea, the coffee, those types of things, and we're asking our patients to ask for that stuff if you want it. We're keeping our doors open so there's less touching of doorknobs and such. Or you may even see, if you come to the office here, we're setting out chairs now outside of the lobby, the waiting room, so that patients aren't clustering in a confined space in the office. Of course, I mentioned we're offering telehealth, where our online store is open. If you don't want to come into the office, we can ship you those nutrients in your prescriptions. In our IV department, we're spacing our patients out so that they're distanced from each other. And we do have, we're limited, but we have a couple private rooms. If we do have a patient that's symptomatic or is maybe a higher risk, maybe it's a cancer patient with a compromised immune system, so that we can keep them away from other patients. We do have air filters running through the office 24/7 with ultraviolet light that's helping disinfect any sort of airborne illnesses. So those are the steps we're taking here to keep our staff safe, to keep our patients safe. And please call first if you have any questions, or if you're having any symptoms and you're not sure what to do. We want to, if we can, keep you out of the urgent care, out of the emergency room, and see if it's appropriate for you to come in, or if a telehealth visit is more appropriate. The last thing I'll mention before we move on to questions and some more details is for our IV therapy department, we're open 6 days a week here. We are encouraging patients, please do come in, get those IVs. There's almost nothing better that you can do for your immune system than to get that high dose vitamin C, that chelation therapy to increase microcirculation, which delivers the nutrients, the nutrition to all of your body. I also want to mention that if you're a first responder, if you're a healthcare worker who's actively working right now, showing up and taking care of patients, putting yourself on the front line, so police officers, paramedics, EMTs, firefighters, doctors, nurses, even staff that's working in a healthcare office. We're discounting our IVs by $25 until further notice. Mm-hmm. So just simply come in, show us your identification, proof that you're actively working right now, and we'll get you an immune drip, an enhanced chelation, an IV at $25 off. So very excited and proud that we're able to offer that as well too. Okay, so shall we move on now to talk a little bit about immune support?
Mm-hmm. Do we have any questions yet?
Oh, I think we do. All right, let's jump in on some questions here.
I got to tell you this. Wednesday mornings is when our gardener comes. Every Wednesday morning. So right before these videos, all the grass is cut and everything's blooming. And so I'm B positive blood and I have lots of allergies. The minute I walk out my door, I have air filters in my home, I start getting a runny nose. So it makes it look like I have a cold. But that's how you know this is really live. Yes, right. This is really live.
Okay, first question is from Bobby Seaton. There is a ratio of zinc and copper to be maintained. So is it okay to take zinc lozenges every day?
Yes. The ratio is about 7-to-1, 7 zinc to 1 copper. And one study says it should be 10-to-1. So I think it's just fine to do that. We have, I believe, Bobby, you're on the TLC Energy Core, and so you are getting some zinc in that as well as copper is in it. So I don't think you have to worry. We're just talking about long-term supplementation with high-dose zinc. We're talking in the ranges of 100 milligrams of zinc a day. If you did that for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you could upset that balance. But I think short-term dosings, we have 5 milligrams of zinc in the standard.
And that's been proven to be effective in interrupting the RNA duplication, right?
Right.
Viruses.
Zinc stops the RNA-dependent RNA polymerase of the coronavirus RNA. So that's why zinc is so fabulous. That's why we also think the hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, all the macrolides like erythromycin, azithromycin, these all work to help bring zinc into the cell. And so, yes, zinc is quite valuable, and that's why we designed it into our multivitamin. I think it's safe to take an extra, 7 to 10 a day if you want to, in a milligram, 7 to 10 milligrams a day.
Okay, next question is, are we in the USA able to test for COVID-19 antibodies yet?
Yes, we are. There are 2 types of antibodies. One is the very first initial antibody response, and we call those IgM, M as in mom, okay? And those show that you've had a recent infection. The other is IgG, like in good. And IgG shows a more distant exposure and immune response. That's usually about a month out. And these are now available. They're coming online. They are usually serum where you would prick your finger, and we can see if you're making antibodies to this, whether it be IgM or IgG. And so yes, it's available.
It's available, and I do want to say that, and Dr. Correct, please step in if I say anything incorrect, but currently here at TLC, we've decided not to test for coronavirus for our patients, at least for the time being. The general information being put out by the CDC, because of the medical supply chain becoming so inundated, is don't test unless it's going to alter the course of treatment, right? So if you're feeling that you're coming down with certainly you don't need to get tested if you're asymptomatic. Now, we should all be practicing social distancing, increased hygiene, and in healthcare, we treat everybody as they're infected every day anyways. But we won't test unless it changes the course of treatment, and that means that you are having symptoms, and would that mean that advanced measures would be taken to intervene? So at this point today, we've decided the things that we're doing day in and day out at TLC to improve immune system up to a point are all that's necessary. If it gets to the point that a patient's having respiratory distress or other more serious symptoms is when it's appropriate to test.
They're trying to save the processing of at least the polymerase chain reaction RNA studies, which are for the hospitalized and critical patients. So I would certainly go along with what they've been advising. Let's not all try and rush in and see if we've been tested. Yes, they're available.
And most patients that are coming down with this, somewhere 88% depending on where you're looking right now,
they're not going to have a problem.
Their treatment is stay at home, rest, isolation.
14 days.
14 days, right. And then all the things, of course, that we're going to add to that, the water, the diet. But all right, so I hope that answers that question about testing. Next question is, would you recommend selenium for prostate health?
Oh, most definitely. There are wonderful nutraceutical research studies on selenium. One study was at 200 micrograms daily use for slowing down and impacting the cancer, for instance. The other study was 400 micrograms of selenium, and the 400 micrograms was absolutely noteworthy in having an inhibitory impact on the forward progress of your cancer and in prevention. So selenium is a very important trace mineral that's required in many biochemical enzymatic reactions in your human body to help your immune system, to help your body have defense against toxins. So selenium is a must. It's in any good, healthy micronutrient. It's rich in liver. It's rich in animal products like that.
Right. And if you're taking our Energy Core or our Multi-Min, you're going to find selenium in there. If you're taking Mitocore, it's going to be in any decent multi-spectrum, multivitamin or mineral.
Yes.
Next question is, how about elderberry for preventing COVID-19?
Well, elderberry has been studied, but it's interesting. Elderberry with selenium has shown the greater potential in being inhibitory in viral illness, shortening the duration of these illnesses, and inhibiting viral replication. Yes, I like elderberry. Yes, it is studied and available in many of these herbal elements. Virucid has elderberry in it, but I think we are out of Virucid.
No, we don't. We have it back.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
More coming in.
Okay. Yeah.
Supplies are changing daily for obviously PPE, things like gloves and masks, as well as raw materials for a lot of supplements. So I'm glad we brought that up, because our next question is, what supplements do you recommend to boost the immune system? We have, we're going to talk briefly about that, and then we have, if we're out of one thing, what we're recommending in place.
Well, I like to go with evidence-based medicine, and there is always a limitation on financing for products that occur naturally and cannot be patented. And so we have to, with great effort, find the science that supports our choices for our recommendations as licensed physicians. The number one product that has the most research behind it as far as impacting the immune system, it has 7 studies on it looking at stamina in military forces, SWAT teams, the stamina through stressful high college exam testing periods of time in the young adults. We have a 3 million, so when you talk about the number of people in the study, when you have about 3 million people in a study and you see consistent results, we find that with the children, they have less colds, less days missed from school, less over-the-counter medications taken, less medications prescribed from their doctors, less doctor visits, better athletic performance. That goes along with the military stress reactions. And that's the Juice Plus series. That's the fruit, vegetable, and berry whole food concentrate. And I've published on this for its antioxidant defense. So it's probably got around 38 peer-reviewed publications in it worldwide, and we've tested this on children and people worldwide. So that's my #1 base for all people. So as you look at your health, we want you to understand we're going to go where the biggest science is, and that's with the Juice Plus series.
But if you're not taking Juice Plus, why not? You should be taking Juice Plus. Everybody should be on this. It's just fruits and vegetables. Now, you can't order this on a store, online. We don't even carry it. We don't stock it in the office. You have to get it shipped directly from the manufacturer. They have very good reasons for doing that. So, but you can contact our office. Dr. Cora is actually putting together a great blog post that'll be posted at our website, tlcdoctors.com. That's TLC as in Tustin Longevity Center, doctors.com. And she's outlining what vitamins she's taking to maintain her immune system. Juice Plus is one of those. And I think I'll put a link at the bottom of that where patients can go online and order directly from the company for Juice Plus.
Now, I don't want you to forget drinking enough water is essential. We are water beings in little cellular sacs. So you've got to drink enough water, half your weight in ounces. So if you're a 200-pound man, 100 ounces. If you're a 125-pound woman, about 64 ounces a day. Water is essential for a healthy immune system.
We treat it as a prescription here. If you've seen us as a patient, we prescribe an amount in ounces of water to and we expect patients as they take their prescriptions to drink that water. That is so important for your health, and it's free.
Yeah.
Drink your water.
The other thing is getting a good night's sleep. That is the time your body repairs and boosts up its immune system. Try and aim for a nice, dark, quiet, electromagnetic energy. Turn off all your stuff. Good night's sleep. That's very, very critical, especially during this time. Another thing is, if you're sincerely concerned about your immune system, you have to cut out the carbohydrate snacking. You have to get away from processed foods. You have to get to natural foods, the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts, the seeds, the fish, the chicken, the beef, and get away from this high carb scenario. In fact, fasting, if you could fast 2 days just on a water or herbal tea, I fast 5 days twice a year just on water and black coffee. That literally can help reboost your whole immune system.
A lot of us have a lot of time right now, and if you're not working in healthcare or essential services, you might be stuck at home, and there's that temptation. I'm bored. What can I eat? I'm opening my fridge 5 times a day. We need to practice some social distancing from the sugars and carbohydrates in our own house.
Absolutely.
And if fasting is too hard for you and that's too big of a leap, maybe just try starting with intermittent fasting, which is making a promise to yourself that you're only going to eat between a fixed window of time. Maybe you say, I'm not going to eat until 11 a.m. and I'm not going to eat past 6 p.m. and just limiting it, because you still get a lot of the benefits when you're not eating.
Right. Your immune system needs that 14, 16, 18 hours to work on your body rather than working on potential pathogens coming into your gut.
Right. Okay.
What else do we have for the immune system?
We've got a lot of supplements. We also have a lot of questions.
Oh, well, let's do the questions. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is, how long is a vitamin C IV effective as a preventive measure versus COVID-19?
Well, that, of course, has not been studied. The COVID virus is only about 4 months old at this point. But if you look at viral illnesses and the research with vitamin C over the past 60 or plus years, even with Linus Pauling, the impact of high-dose vitamin C intravenously and daily usage is well established. We would say if you're doing an IV vitamin C, our immune drip is 25 gram vitamin C. I would think once a week if you're concerned.
Would be a good preventative measure. We actually start our IVs at 12.5 grams.
Yes.
Anybody can bring in, walking off the street, and we can give that to them after a brief screening.
Yes.
And that's a really great amount of vitamin C.
And then, of course, the vitamin C is in the Juice Plus. It's in our multivitamin, immune-enhancing, liver detoxing multivitamin called TLC Energy Core or MitoCore. That's got it in it. The research also shows 200 milligrams a day was having impact in the coronavirus as far as some of the Chinese and the South Korean studies, or at least the reports. These are not completed studies. These are doctors anecdotally reporting on what they're doing.
We will get back to that question about what supplements we recommend taking. Time welling, because we're limited here, but I don't want to leave you hanging there. The next question is, and thanks for your thanks. We love doing this. Appreciate you guys joining us. What would you suggest for someone who has leukemia for basic immune support? My friend takes Juice Plus, great, and Veggie Caps. Thank you.
Well, I would take a very well-designed multivitamin nutrient that has some vitamin D, some zinc in it, some selenium in it, some N-acetylcysteine, all these like ECGC green tea extract, and that is in the Mitocore from Orthomolecular. We have it also in the TLC Energy Core. So a very good multi-mineral nutrient detoxing supplement. I would take that. I would take Juice Plus. I would also probably take at this time a supplemental zinc source. Either I have the TLC multi-minerals. 3 capsules will give you about 25 milligrams of zinc in it. I'm taking 1 extra TLC multi-mineral a day in addition to my TLC Energy Core. And I am taking, and always have been taking, vitamin D with K2. It's vitamin D3 with K2 at about 10,000 a day. We do have higher dose vitamin D. These are for limited times only, 5 to 7 days. It's a 50,000 capsule. And we want to remind you, you only take 1 a day of these if you think you are ill, if you think you're coming down with something, and you only take 1 a day for up to 7 days. And you only do that cycle 7 days out of a 28-day month. And then resume your regular daily dose of vitamin D for me, which is 10,000 international units.
So regular daily dose of vitamin D, just as maintenance for your immune system and all kinds of other health benefits. Some D has K2 in it, others is just vitamin D on its own. Daily 5,000 IUs to 10,000 IUs is a good daily amount we found with our patients. Mm-hmm. And then for immediate immune support, if you feel like you're compromised, you're coming down with something, up to 50,000 IUs, one a day, 50,000 IUs a day for up to 7 days, but only do that once a month. Mm-hmm.
Now, quercetin is also been established along with hydroxychloroquine and the azithromycin Z-Pak as a zinc ionophore, getting that zinc delivered into the cell to inhibit viral replication. We have that in our DHIST. We have it for children in the children's junior DHIST. And I think quercetin is also in LRDHQ. So quercetin is a very valuable thing to take also preventatively. Selenium. Now I want to say about Argentin, the silver, nano silver, like in a nasal spray up your nose, or even a sip of it, swishing and swallowing. That's a very well-established antiviral supplementation that you can do.
This is a silver hydrosol.
Right.
Very great if you can spray it up your nose and coat the mucosa that way. This one's a spray bottle, or I can spray it on my eyes or into my mouth. Mm-hmm. The liquid on the inside of these is all the same, so you can open it up, you can gargle it, you can add it to your nasal spray. We don't know how much longer we're going to have this in stock. We are expecting another shipment. I did hear from the makers of Argentin 23, which is the professional strength that you can only get through a healthcare provider. They're switching their production to Sovereign Silver, which is available in health food stores across the country. It's half the strength of this, but I would much prefer get that than nothing, and I would get that over any colloidal silver. Colloidal silvers can be, there's some risk apparently with getting too much or how big the molecules are. This stuff is great though. Does that answer the question about immune support? Okay. I heard that we cannot build immunity to the virus, but it doesn't sound like that is true. What's your opinion on that? Also, Is it true that if you get it a second time, the symptoms are worse?
No, that's conjecture. If you get it the second time, your symptoms are worse. We are looking at the concept right now of second exposure, so to say, and that's why we have the immunoglobulin M for the very first immune response, and that answers the question, yes, you can develop an immune response to it. An IgG, which shows a more distant exposure that you've already made longer lasting responses to. Your memory cells, your T cells and your B cells are able to take this information and deliver it into your system in a memory type form. So it's not true to say that you can't have an immune response, and it's not true to assume that it would be worse with a second exposure.
Okay, thank you for answering that. Can an 11-year-old take Juice Plus? Is that 2 supplements? You had 3 bottles initially.
I would take 2 fruit, 2 vegetable, and 2 berries. That's why you saw 3 of them. One is the vineyard, and that's the purple one. The green are the vegetables, and the red are the fruit. Remember, the sugar is out of this. 4 oranges, if you ate 4 oranges, would give you about 200 milligrams of vitamin C, and that would, however, give you a high dose of sugar. So we love this because it is so reduced low in the sugar. They've taken the sugar out. That's why I use that product.
I have an 11-year-old boy, and he takes 2 of each, the red, the green, and the purple.
It's food. This is just food. You have to understand, this is food concentrates. And you can even open up the capsule and mix it into the food of little children who can't swallow it. I would think 1 capsule a day for anyone under 6 years old,
right.
You know, and I would start them as early as 1 year old.
Mix it into some applesauce or into some yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be not as great as the capsules because it's not as concentrated. Plus, they're going to leave in some of the fruit sugars
right.
for the taste, but they do make a gummy, chewable version of each of those colors.
And this is what a lot of the study was done on the 3 million children. So that isn't a joke. That really does make a difference, even in the gummy form.
Next question is it true that women have stronger immune systems because of hormones?
Well, you can make that argument. I would say that one of the things about zinc that can destroy your zinc is being on medications. Even estrogen itself has a depletion of zinc. So I wouldn't go as far as saying women have a better immune system. What I want to point out to you is that if you're a vegetarian and you're eating a lot of beans and lentils to try and get your zinc in, it's mixed with phytates. Phytates almost suck out the wonderful mineral zinc, and so it's going to be difficult for you. Not impossible. You would have to soak your beans very well to enhance the ability of you to get your minerals from there. Of course, the richest source of zinc is our oysters and animal products, beef liver, beef, and things such as that, your meats, and eggs and so forth.
I tell you what, we're actually a little overtime right now. I've got to get the doctor to see some of her patients in the office, but the response today has been great. We so appreciate you spending time with us and asking our questions. I know we didn't get to answer all the questions. I'll talk to the doctor. Maybe we'll even do this an extra one instead of waiting till next week. Maybe we'll do one on Friday or something.
If you want to just make it like a question answer one,
yeah.
I'd be happy to do that. But
here's what. Let me just interrupt 1 second. Here's what you need to do though. We'll announce if we're going to do another live Q&A off schedule. We will continue next week at the regular scheduled time at 9:45.
Mm-hmm.
But sign up for our email newsletter. Go to tlcdoctors.com. Scroll to the bottom. You'll find the newsletter sign up there. That's where we'll publish, hey, we're going to do another one, or follow us on Facebook, TLC Doctors at Facebook.
I want to bring up a very important point. People are in a discussion about hydroxychloroquine as a off-label use of hydroxychloroquine that was designed and approved for treatment of malaria, and also was secondarily approved for treatment in some of the rheumatoid diseases as Plaquenil. And I want to point out to you that off-label use of prescription medications is a very common practice. Maybe 20% of all drugs are prescribed off-label. Your physician is licensed to make those determinations. The other thing is, for instance, like psychiatric drugs, about 31% of them are all off-label uses as they work to find out what's best for their patients. I want to point out something very serious here, and that is EDTA chelation therapy is proven through the TAC Trial 1 to have an enormous impact on reducing the mortality, subsequent strokes, rehospitalization, and need for catheterization of coronary vessels. This is not a question, this is proven. And this involved 1,708 people. Now, EDTA chelation is a drug approved by the FDA for lead toxicity removal, especially in children. But physicians who have chelated for years have you found that it helps with microcirculation, which has a benefit to cardiovascular disease. Now listen to this. If there is 600,000 deaths every single year in the United States due to heart disease, due to cardiovascular disease, we need to pressure the FDA to allow for EDTA chelation to be billed, because 600,000 are dying every year from heart disease, and we can impact that with the 60 years of use of chelation doctors giving hundreds of thousands every year dosings. It's safe. We need to impact our number one killer, which is cardiovascular disease, with the off-label use of EDTA chelation.
We're just a little passionate about that here.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to leave you with some words of encouragement. We have such an amazing staff here, and I feel so privileged to show up day in and day out next to people that really care about you, because you matter, and your life's important, and your loved ones' lives are important. So it's a blessing to be able to care for you and to have this format and share with you what we're learning and what we're seeing with our patients that's helping their lives. And I want you to know that these are unprecedented times. Everybody I meet says, I can't ever remember a time like this in the United States. We're going to get through this together. We have our family here at the office. Our patients are our extended family, and you matter. And let's look at this challenge right now and see what blessings we can find in it. I'm getting, as people are spending time from home, not able to go into work, perhaps you can write a letter to a loved one, spend some more time calling your loved ones. Find ways to work on your diet, do some push-ups, some sit-ups at home. This doesn't have to be all about the bad news. And I'd encourage you too, don't spend all day long watching the news and just waiting for the next headline and the numbers to change. Take a break from that. Just sit down, play a board game with your family. Practice good social distancing, but reconnect with loved ones. Maybe read those books that you haven't gotten a chance to read in a while, or find a course online that you can study. This doesn't have to be all bad news. This too shall pass, it will pass. And I know that there's a lot of things not in our control right now, but I know that I'm not in control. My God's in control. That's what I personally believe, and we will get through this together.
I'm going to say one more thing.
Sure.
Today's number is those exposed confirmed are 55,568 as of 2 hours ago. We've had 809 deaths. If you divide the deaths by the total known diseases, and that denominator should even be bigger because we don't know how many others, you have a 0.014 mortality rate in the United States. So take counsel in that, comfort in that.
Right. Economy shifting, things are happening right now, but this will pass. It will settle, and life will go back to normal. But let's look at the blessings that we have during this time as well too. We're here for you. Stay in touch. Follow us on Facebook. We'll let you know if we're going to do another unscheduled one of these. Otherwise, join us next week at 9:45 a.m. Pacific. We look forward to seeing you and your questions then. Thank you.
Okay.